Okay, coming back to our discussion on Lynn White Jr., who wrote in 1967 Historical Roots of Our Ecological Crisis, he points out that the wrong theology made by Christianity as caused became the reason for the ecological crisis. That means precisely misinterpreting that dominion into human terms, not divine dominion, but human dominion. So now we need to discuss and reread the Bible, reinterpret the Bible, and reconstruct the Bible. In other words, new philosophy, new theology is needed. So there were a lot of negative things happened because of the anthropocentric theology made by Christianity, especially forced conversions around the world. They went all over the world. They believed only their religion is the true religion. All other religions are completely, they are false. So that is how they came to India. And fortunately, British people, they did not do evangelization. They did only politics and business. So they knew very well the Indians are not going to accept Christian way of teaching or Christian way of life, the Christian way of presenting the message. So they rejected. So they didn't do any evangelization here. If British people did evangelization, that would have been worse than Portuguese colony in the 15th and 16th century in Goa. In Goa, so much bad happened. And British people could have done it, but they didn't do that. So we thank God for that. And but other countries, they did lot of bad things in South America, Mexico, all other South American countries. Those three greatest civilizations like Inca, Maya, Aztec, all of them completely destroyed and disappeared because of one religion, Christianity. So it's all became possible because of the wrong interpretation. But Christianity ideas are so beautiful. They are so unique with forgiveness, such a greatest virtue. Christianity could have done much better things. Unfortunately, our Christian memory in the past is not that good, very violent, very violent. Also, uh, poaching, deforestation, especially in for railway reasons in India. To build the railways, they needed a lot of lumber, so they destroyed a lot of forest in order to build railway tracks and railway coaches, berths, etc. So Nilgiris and Kodaikanal, Western Ghats, and the ecosystems situated in Western Ghats were exploited excessively. Also, northern Himalayas for railway building, for roads, they had to destroy a vast cover of forest. So, thus, they paved the way for the ecological crisis. Now, recently, global warming, global warming. 1850, I told you, industrial revolution that paved the way for this global warming, globalization, industry, large amount of consumption, big families, big houses. Actually, in London in those days, 1850, you know the billboards, the advertising, what is that, placards, or they call it, what is that today? banners, it was written, bigger the better. Bigger the better. That was the famous saying during the Industrial Revolution. That means you buy big everything, consume in a bigger amount, and big houses, big cars, big refrigerators, big income, big what is that? Telephones in those days. Everything was big. Carbon footprint was big. Big bulbs, big fans. Everything was big. At last, big families. Big families is in it. Because they build big houses. Who is going to fill those houses? So they have to fill them now. So they filled. And thus the population increased very rapidly. And global warming. You burn so much of fossil fuel, coal, industry, so much of exhaust, smoke. Many people in those times, especially poets, were complaining about the environment in London, like famous poets like William Wordsworth, the other poets. They were all lamenting about the landscape of London. You know the famous poem in those days, Daffodils. You must have studied in English literature. Daffodils, they look yellow, bright yellow, green color, bright. London was filled with daffodils. So the poet William Wordsworth, looking at the daffodils during that time, Industrial Revolution, daffodils, they never looked yellow, they looked black because of the pollution from the exhaust of the factories. Everything, the soot came and rested on daffodils. Daffodils looked black. Even the green petals also looked black. And he was crying and lamenting. And he's writing a poem, The Daffodils. Many poets, they were writing very sad poems in those days because of human greed and dominion. People understood that they are the masters of the planet. Not only in England, all over the world. What happened in, what is that, 1990, not 1984 in Bhopal. It is called Bhopal tragedy. You know the gas leak in Bhopal tragedy that killed more than 3,000 people, and another 60,000 people become handicapped because inhaling that isocyanide from the factory disaster, Union Carbide factory in Bhopal, a factory that produces fertilizer. The tank which contained the chemical leaked in the middle of the night and slowly seeped into the air, and it spread completely. Morning you see people dead and people in coma. That was the biggest disaster. The industrial disaster happened in the subcontinent. It's all dominion. That factory was owned by an American, Mr. Anderson. So again, people from the West, from the monotheistic religions, they came to India. They colonized. They also brought factories. And because of those factories, the people, poor people suffered. And even today, people discuss about that in Indian Parliament. After 1984 it happened. Now what? How many years? 40 or 50 years? 84, 94, 2004, 2040 years. 40 years. After 41 years, even today, people talk about the justice. Mr. Anderson came here to face justice, but we don't know what happened. The morning He wasn't here. He was in America on the plane. They brought him to justice. But the next day he is in America. This mystery, even today, nobody understands. Maybe the angel of the Lord came, like in the prison when Peter and Paul was arrested. They opened the gate, they took Peter away. Peter was a good man. What about Anderson? He's responsible of killing 3,000 and 60,000 people handicapped. But the man went to America and he stayed in the air conditioned room in America and he breathed at last. Yeah. He was supposed to be here in the jail spending time, but who let him off the hook? Who? Nobody claimed responsible. Our legal system, they don't even bring them and then tell the people the real truth. So this is the cover up. Cover up. There is no justice in the land. That is sad to say. Pope Francis would say later on, you are going to read that. You know, John Paul II, Saint John Paul, in Centesimus Annus, one of the encyclical he wrote, he observes about human beings. When you read this, you will be shocked. A saint is telling about our human beings. John Paul II, a saint. Didn't I say? Jesus, he didn't have good opinion about human beings. He branded them. Yesterday I told you, brood of vipers, whitewashed tombs, and you evil generation. Listen to this, what John Paul II has to say about human beings. Instead of carrying out his role as a cooperator with God in the work of creation, man sets himself up in the place of God and thus ends up provoking a rebellion on the part of nature which is more tyrannized than governed by him. God created human being and he told, take care of the earth, till it and keep it. We understand that as stewardship, isn't it? Stewardship. We are all stewards of the earth. So our job is to help God in protecting creation. But what we do there, we take the God and throw him out of the window, and man sits in the seat of the God. I am the God. What can I do? Politicians, religious leaders, economy, technology. This is the representation, God. For many people today, technology is the God. Economy is the God, you know. So now, man sets himself up in place of God and thus ends up provoking a rebellion. Rebellion. Our species is so bad, so bad. I mean, we are thugs, thugs. We are, in Tamil, there is one word called, another, for rebellious people, they use Adanga Pidari, Tamil. Adanga Pidari. That means this species can never be tamed. It is the wildest creature in the world. Human being is the Adanga Pidari. He can't be controlled by nature, even by God, because he threw the God outside the window and he claimed to be God. I am the God. There is no God anymore. I am the. Today, even the multinational corporations, all of them, they say that we are the gods. So today in India also, all our lifestyles are decided by some rich man. There is no freedom here. Sometimes religions controlled us. Some people, politicians controlled us. Actually, poor human beings. We are like a drum beaten this side or a beaten that side, like a Congo drum. Dum, tum, tung, tung. Morning he was playing. Three sides, we are beaten human beings, like a Congo drum. So the politicians beat you, religious people beat you, economy beat you, and technology kicks you. That's what it's happening. So this is what the rebellion Adanga Pidarigal means. Adanga Pidari, he will not obey to God. He will make others slaves. You understand? On the part of nature, who is the rebellious creature on the part of nature means only one species. That is us, Homo sapiens. And you see, towards the end, John Paul II gives you what kind of crime this human species is doing. Yesterday, God also told the similar thing that the wickedness of man has reached to the highest point. I am sorry that I made man, see, which is more tyrannized than governed by him. What is the meaning of tyrannized? You know, tyranny?
Yes.
Tyrant, you know. So it comes from the tyrannized. So man is symbolized, second time, not only Adanga Pidari, he is a tyrant. Tyrant. See, you have got more titles. We can put here 1, 2, 3, 4 stripes. One is the Adanga Pidari, another one is the tyrant, another one is the rebel, and you can put another 3 titles also. There is no place from year to year. You can see titles for human beings like you brood of vipers, whitewashed tombs, you evil generation. So this is not the proper place for the titles. You should put it from year to year. Because too many titles this human species have earned. So all infamous titles, useless titles. So this is what really we are. I may be little funny in narrative, but the truth is not far away. That is the real truth. You can give more titles also, but it is filled this side. You can put titles, your own titles here, but the whole backside is empty. You can fill backside also. So many titles human beings have earned so far. You understand what I mean? See, look at this. The next slides I would like to show you. You know what?